thinking about the definition of a statutory task, there are several aspects of it that we've got to assess. And one of the first criteria is involvement in section 17 or section 47. So can you give me a flavour about section 17 and 47?
Yeah, definitely. So since we've been developing the student social work placements here, and since I've moved into role of practice educator, I've started to embed students taking a caseload from much sooner in their placements. Now, many of our families or our parents who are open to my sister's place have children. Most of those children are on child in need or child protection plans. So now, as a matter of course, every student completes statutory work on a daily basis with their clients and their children. So that will be, like Jade said, attending strategy meetings, conferences, but also core group meetings, child in need meetings, and being the victim's advocate in those spaces. They'll also complete visits to the client and their children out in the community. So similar to a child in need visit or a child protection visit, they're going in the family's home, they're assessing risk and need and making a plan from that risk and need.
So just thinking again about the statutory task definition, we are asked to assess high risk decision making.
Absolutely. So as a matter of course, our students work with clients who are at high risk of significant harm, either currently, in the future, or have previously been subjected to that harm. So there's high risk decision making made on a daily basis for our student social workers. They're completing assessments with clients, maybe on the phone or face to face in the office or in the community. They're deciding whether they're able to continue to sit with the risk for a client, or whether we need to involve a statutory agency like police or like adult social care or children's social care. They're always making those referrals when needed, so safer referrals, concern forms, requests for care and support needs assessments, and they're always trying to establish what level of risk the client is at using our domestic abuse risk assessment, the DASH-RIC, and therefore what interventions we best place to support that client. What we've noticed is that because for our agency, every client is at risk of harm, every client is currently experiencing domestic abuse, we are working with usually a level of risk that any social worker who is in the local authority would be deeming as high risk. Now, our thresholds for that risk, we might say in our agency, is not necessarily high yet. So that means that when we view a client as at high risk of harm, they're usually right at the top end of the scale that a local authority would view someone at risk of harm. So yeah, a very comprehensive and embedded understanding of risk in our organisation.
And the last aspect of statutory task is thinking about complexity. So thinking about the range of dilemma that is involved in your work at my sister's place. And I think in the guidance, I think there's some examples there, such as risk versus rights to make your own decisions.
So I think that, again, our students work with risk and these ethical dilemmas when risk is concerned on a daily basis. So we very often have clients coming to my sister's place who are experiencing quite high levels of domestic abuse, but perhaps are not ready to make those steps to end the relationship or to take the actions that professionals might believe would make them more safe, like accessing refuge or fleeing the area, things like that. That means that our students become experts at really listening to clients' wishes and feelings, really hearing the survivor's voice, and trying to establish safety plans that meet their needs, whilst always holding in mind thresholds for statutory intervention and when we might have to override their wants and needs in order to make themselves or their children more safe. I think the ethical dilemmas are so far ranging that we could have endless examples of those. However, I think it's important to note that the variety of individuals coming through my sister's place is so vast that I think our students gain a real sense of managing dilemmas in terms of professionals who are experiencing domestic abuse and then also needing to access services in their own right. I have to deal with you know, challenging other professionals on whether a ladder referral should or shouldn't be submitted, which can be a real difficulty and an ethical dilemma with a victim of domestic abuse who's also a professional. We have lots of clients accessing our service who have quite significant unmet mental health needs or are using substances to the point that perhaps their capacity and decision making is impacted. And those who've been through such extreme levels of trauma that we can ascertain that their capacity to make decisions about further traumatic potential relationships can be impacted, and we kind of do a lot of advocacy and support for those clients. So I think our students get such a wide range of experience in managing these dilemmas. No two clients are the same, no two situations are the same. So that really is the bread and butter of the placements here.
So thinking about, again, just going back to the definition of statutory task, thinking about the range of legal intervention.
Yeah, definitely. So we've had students supporting clients to attend solicitors' appointments, proceed with non-molestation orders, restraining orders, prohibited steps orders, supporting clients who are destitute to access you know, their own legal aid and ensure that their rights are upheld. Our students attend court with clients, that's family court and criminal court. A full range of legal interventions, really, because domestic abuse touches everybody. It means that whatever situation legally a client is in will usually have experience of that in the organisation that students can shadow and then get straight involved in.